So I'm all about the product, not the package. So forgive me if I use notes on 3x5 cards and ancient paper technology, and bear with me. All right, here we go. And I need to go back. I got to start with the first one. All right. Now, between the snowbirds and the sun worshippers, there's a transition zone, which is rich in marine species. The transition zone is located on the edges of the counterclockwise low-pressure gyres that spit out debris and the clockwise rotating high-pressure gyre that we know accumulates plastic debris. The black smudges in the middle of the ocean in this slide represent 40 to 50 kilometer long nets, 30 feet deep. In 1990 to 1991, trained observers made 300,000 individual catch records. The nets caught everything more than a few inches in length. The 750 boat flying squid fishery, yes, besides flying fish, there are flying squid, strained life out of the ocean over an area roughly the size of the United States. The southern edge of the flying squid drift net fishery overlaps the North Pacific Gyre's trash convergence zone as depicted in this National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration map. The scientific observers counted 117 species in the 300,000 individuals known euphemistically as bycatch. There were no reef fish. Tunas, salmon, swordfish, no reef fish. I've spent many days sampling and observing the eastern part of this transition zone a decade after this study was completed. Each dot here represents a trawl sample I took at the ocean surface. 10 years later, reef fish have arrived in caulking tubes, with soap bottles. Note the nibbled edges of the bottle correspond with the size of the triggerfish's mouth. The Hawaiian sargent is now common, a typical Hawaiian reef fish. The scrawled or scribbled filefish is normally found in tropical reefs to 120 meters deep. This fish was found in water 3,000 meters deep. The deep ocean is remarkably uniform in color. Why would a lie-and-wait predator like the frogfish that can change colors to match the background be in the middle of the ocean? Answer, because we have changed the ocean dramatically. Plastic waste mimics food. Did you know that salps, which are chordate jellies, have animal cellulose that feels and looks like plastic wrap? A black plastic trash bag as the mothership. Soap bottle townhouse. My colleague, Dr. Marcus Erickson, watched this 5-week-old fish develop under his raft. This was the alpha male. It was out in front of his junk raft that drifted to Hawaii. And its plastic diet was obtained well outside the Gyre's convergence zone. I found these rainbow runners kicking it in the crib in the transition zone. Note the coral starting to grow on the plastic crate. A derelict fishing buoy has become a miniature coral reef. Biological remoteness from nearshore habitat is no more in the Gyre. A morning spent netting along a plankton windrow will yield a deck full of plastic trash. An hour or so spent sampling the surface of the convergent zone with our manta trawl will yield some identifiable objects and a handful of plastic fragments. A night sample produces lanternfish that have come up to the surface to feed from the dark depths where they hide from predators during the day. Here they are in a Pyrex casserole dish that would fit in your oven. Lanternfish are the size of your fingers. The little photophores, or lanterns, glow in the dark. If you look in their stomachs, you find plastic. Lots of plastic. In some fish, there are more pieces of plastic than natural food. Here's a diagram supposedly representing the feeding web in the ocean. The question is, where is plastic in this diagram? The answer is at every level, but never mentioned. In future, we can't take seriously any depiction of food resources in the ocean that doesn't describe plastic as one of those resources. Watch the plastic go away from its civilized sources. Asian debris heads directly for the convergence zone, while American debris heads out past Cabo San Lucas, eventually forming the western patch off southern Japan, while Asia's waste populates the eastern garbage patch. What happens in China doesn't stay in China. Check this out. Eastern garbage patch, western garbage patch, very mobile. For all of those that want to get out there and clean up this mess, realize that this is a moving system. It's not something that's going to wait for you. It's going to be on its way, and it's going to be very variable. This represents plastic dropped every 10 days from Asian coasts, populating the North Pacific Ocean. Extremely dramatic video done by a man whose life's work was to model Pacific Ocean surface currents. So you can see from having watched that first stop is Hawaii. Then Oahu. Then to Oregon. To be ground into New Age sand. The same thing is happening in all 5 gyres and their surrounding coastal areas. Marcus Erickson and Anna Cummins have been to 4 of these 5 and are now in Rio poised to sample the 5th in the South Pacific. Plastic trawled up with fish and plankton is in this sample from the North Atlantic gyre, and windrows of debris were found there. The South Atlantic gyre on the way to Ascension Island, Marcus has sampled. And in our lab, there's the South Atlantic gyre. In our lab, Gwen Lattin and Ann Zellers analyzed the samples. Here's a map with greater densities of plastic debris indicated by larger circles. Now, we've sampled this area where those large circles are in 1999 and then come back again in 2008 and 2009. In 1999, we found 6 times as much plastic as plankton in this area. In averaging the winter of 2008 and the summer of 2009 together, that ratio of 6-to-1 has gone up to 36-to-1. 36 times more plastic by weight in this area than natural zooplankton food. We screen and sort the sample, and 5 millimeter on the left to 1/3 of a millimeter on the right. Now, from a human lifetime perspective, plastic waste in the ocean never goes away. It just gets smaller and smaller, eventually becoming individual molecules of plastic before anything can eat it. Perfect size for filter feeders. These are those salps I talked about, those chordate jellies with animal cellulose. They don't see or smell or taste their food. But those particles are also just fine for turtles that do. This baby was killed by plastic fragments blocking its pylorus. It couldn't eliminate natural products of digestion. A Velella, which is a by-the-wind sailor jellyfish cruising the temperate waters of the world, bumps into plastic fragments and coats them with its tissue like an oyster making a pearl on a grain of sand. Sea anemones decorating their bodies with plastic instead of shells like they would in a coastal tide pool. All it takes for a deep ocean tide pool is a scrap of plastic. Microscopic particles we can't see are the anemone's natural food. Plastic particles eventually become the right size to be ingested by small creatures like this. But large animals are also impacted. This whale washed up on a West Seattle beach this year. Our own California, Eastern Pacific gray whale, a mysticeate whale that feeds by filtering the mud at the bottom of the ocean through its baleen, looking for tiny little invertebrate organisms, had this in its stomach. Pair of sweatpants, golf ball, these are things that would be found on the bottom mixed in the mud. They're heavier than water. Small towels, duct tape, and surgical gloves. Let's start at the local level to fight the plastic plague. Let's stop wrapping our food in plastic. The community-supported agriculture CSA box I produce for my subscribers at my Central Long Beach urban farm is plastic-free. But my soil isn't. In the same way the ocean can't be cleaned of all the plastic, neither can my soil. Little bits of it escape my best efforts at control. But you know what? Some have even decided that this is a good thing, like Waste Away Enterprises in Tennessee. This image depicts the process of taking unsorted garbage, grinding it up, removing the metals, sterilizing it with high-pressure steam, mixing it with peat moss, and then returning it to the soil as a soil amendment for golf courses and nurseries. And what you see in the lower right is a proof that this is beneficial by showing that the nutrients in that accelerate plant growth. And as a matter of fact, a colleague of mine has found that different types of plastic do indeed affect plant growth. She's got a grant from the EPA to test different soil media amended with different types of plastic, and found that certain plastics retard, certain others accelerate, and certain others are more or less neutral. So all plastics are extremely bioactive in the plant world as well as the animal world.